come forward. Robin, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you, Plastic? I'm groovy.
Now I'm feeling really happy because I've got someone from Australia in Sydney. The guy's famous rock photographer. Famous, he used to do articles for the rock magazines. And it's my friend Roger D. Come in, Roger D.
Hey, hi, how's it going?
Hello.
How are you, Roger? I want to introduce you
Hi,
to
Robin.
Roger.
Hi, Plastic.
I love the pink glasses, Roger.
Oh, thank you.
I love them.
Yeah. So
You put on a special rectangular frame for them on the screen.
yes, I did. I'm having technical difficulties today, but it's okay.
Roger, just put your face in the screen. It looks better. Actually, when you move across it, they got your square there. It looks fantastic, like you're shooting a James Bond movie or something. Now, I've got to ask you, you used to write for all the rock magazines. It was in the 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I didn't write for all the. I wrote for one magazine. I wrote for a punk magazine, one of the first punk magazines in Sydney. They gave me an assignment to interview. The first assignment was to do an article about Lenny Bruce. So I studied about Lenny Bruce and learnt all about him, and found out that he came to Australia and he did one show and then he got banned, and then he had trouble trying to get out of the country. But then I had to do an interview with Iggy Pop, and Iggy Pop came here for his first tour, or first time, and I got to meet him and interview Iggy Pop. And then I think the magazine folded after that. So they only had, in true punk tradition, it burnt out very quickly.
So it wasn't.
That's huge. But I also got to say, you also have interviewed a lot of stars that have come to Australia and toured for the first time. Just go through those names.
Oh, look, yeah. As a photographer, I got to go to a lot of press conferences and lots of meets and greets, and then I just would go backstage a lot, and I'd go party with some of these people, and so I got to meet quite a lot of few people. I've met McCartney, I've met Lou Reed quite a few times, David Bowie. I met the Monkees two or three times while they came here, because they were one of my favorite bands. Yeah, just about everyone. I've just about met anyone I wanted to meet. I would be able to meet. Rather, it wasn't always easy. Some people are more difficult than others, like Bob Dylan, very notorious for either being really nice or being horrible.
Blondie, you met Blondie?
Blondie was great. I actually went to their first show in Sydney, and I went to the after party, and I got to party with Blondie, and that was quite an experience, because they were one of my favorite bands at the time, and they just had a hit in Australia, which was remarkable. In fact, Australia was the first place in the world that recognized Blondie. I don't think they even had a hit in America. They had a hit with one single here, In the Flesh, and it was a big hit here, but it wasn't a hit in America. And so they thought, well, we'll have to come here, and they toured them to death. I think they did something like 18 dates or something like that. It was and they played everywhere. I think they even played Dapto. That's how extensive the tour was. But they came out, and I got to meet them, and she was really sweet. She was telling me that she had 3 new cats, and she was a little bit homesick for New York. So yeah, there was some interesting people like Mick Jagger. Got to chat to Mick Jagger for over half an hour. I think we chatted, and I said to him, "You're supposed to be doing an interview." He says, "Oh, you're much more interesting than those guys," and so we had a great time. So yeah.
What did you talk to Mick Jagger about? What was the conversation?
We talked. Well, first of all, we talked about him going solo, because he came out here on a solo tour. Then we talked about movies and acting, because I've also done acting as well. I've done Shakespeare, and I've done a lot of professional theatre and movies and television. And so we started talking about acting, and he asked me what he thought, what I thought about a few things, and he was saying, "Oh, it's a real drag because as soon as I'm on the screen, people go, oh, it's Mick Jagger. They can't think of me as anyone else." So I said, "Yeah, it's difficult. You're Mick Jagger." I said, "But if you really want to do acting and get more into it, go for smaller roles. Go for a smaller role and make an impression on a smaller role." And then I think a year later, he did a film called Free Jack where he played a small role. And I heard that he's just done another film now recently. So I think that the game plan I suggested to him was to kind of go for smaller roles. But he's really was a good actor. He just, like a lot of musicians and people, we're entertainers. We're people who like to entertain. So it's just another form of entertainment from being a
Remember,
singer.
he played Ned Kelly. That was huge for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, Ned Kelly. Yeah, that was closer to the real thing because obviously Ned Kelly was of Irish descent, and so the first person who played him, the Australian guy in the 1920s or 30s, was Australian. But now then the Heath Ledger one came out, but I thought Jagger did okay. But I think it's harder when you're famous like Mick Jagger to do, like same thing with David Bowie. He did a lot of films and he was a really, really good actor, but it was difficult for him because of the type of roles that he chose. But out of all the films he did some really great films. And I think now in retrospect, people will look back and think he was a good actor. It's hard when you're a musician and an actor.
He took your advice. That's
Well,
pretty.
he did take my advice. I was really surprised, but he was a lovely guy, really lovely guy. And I can see why women love him. The same thing with Rod Stewart. Like, he is such a lovely guy. And everyone says, oh, he's this ladies' man. I'm thinking, no, these guys are just charismatic and nice and interesting. And they have a lot of things that they're interested in. And so I think women like that. They don't like men who are just focused on cars and boats and things like that. So I guess
Money.
well, yeah, everyone's interested in money. Come on.
Yeah, but we're charismatic too, Roger. Okay.
Yeah, but we don't have money.
Money is overrated.
Money's over. Yeah, I think so too. Being an artist, I think when I started acting, my drama teacher said, "You realize you've chosen a profession where you'll be potentially poor for the rest of your life." So, and it's true. I've made money doing acting and film and stuff like that, and photography and other things. But when you choose an artistic life, it becomes you've got to realize you're 1%. 5% chance of actually becoming really successful, and majority of people fail. So it's not about that. It's about enjoying what you're doing. So it's
Creative
enjoying
freedom,
music,
Roger.
enjoying
Creative freedom.
acting.
We're into that bag.
Oh yeah, I still play music and I still record and still write songs and I'm not getting any money from it, but my audience and the people that come and see me seem to enjoy me more and more, and I think I'm getting better and better all the time, which is the main thing. And it was interesting, you were talking about the blues before, and I've done a lot of blues, and I've found blues really. I got to the point where I thought, this is easy, I need to do the next thing, which is jazz. And so I'm still edging away at trying to become a good jazz musician. And that, I think, is the highest caliber. If you can play jazz, it's even better than classical, I think, because it's much more free form and more interesting.
You do so many things. So let me get this straight.
Mm-hmm.
You've been a Shakespearean actor. You've interviewed people. You play music yourself. You've been in movies and television. Is there anything that you have not yet done that you'd like to do?
I really like to do some more television, but instead of acting on TV, I'd like to be doing some presenting. Yeah.
Interesting. I want to know what Shakespearean roles have you performed?
Oh yeah, I did Romeo and Juliet. I played Friar Lawrence.
Oh,
Um,
excellent.
I played Taming of the Shrew. I played Gremio in that, I think. And then I did Twelfth Night. What else did I do? Then I did some Woody Allen plays, some Death and God. And then I think I did about 6 or 7 plays over 4 or 5 years, and like it's 6-7 weeks of rehearsal, 6-7 weeks of performing, and then you need 2 weeks to kind of recover and then start all over again. But
Where's that line young
a lot.
Yorick come from? What
Sorry?
play is that?
Yorick.
That's from Hamlet. Alas,
Yeah, I think it is.
Yorick, I knew him, Horatio.
Yeah.
Hey,
I
listen.
played Rosencrantz, and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead.
Now,
Oh,
Roger,
that was
listen to
my
this.
introduction to Hamlet. So I played that major role. That was the first role I did on stage professionally. So that was great. I started at the top and worked my way down.
and
Now,
so,
Roger, I've got to say something. Robin's got a phone that speaks Australian. Since we're both Australian, I'm in
Right.
Melbourne, you're in Sydney.
I was
listen to
telling
this.
her about this actually.
Get that
I
phone out.
wait, Roger. Since obviously, and I have a very American accent. I'm sure it doesn't sound good. I'm sure. I love all.
There's nothing wrong with American accent. There's nothing wrong with any accents. I find all accents very interesting. I had to do a New York accent for the Woody Allen plays, so I find accents very.
Let me hear your New York accent before I
My
do.
New York, yeah. Well, my New York accent, it's really hard. When you come from the Bronx, it's difficult to kind of confess.
That's actually great. Now, can you tell me, I want a pastrami sandwich. That's what they like out there in New York. Now, listen, I got my friend Roger. I got my friend Charles Rosenay, right? He always he's just the funniest guy. Now, because your name's Roger, this is what he wrote. He's just hilarious. Have a look at that. Is that Roger Daltrey? No, that's Roger D.
Roger Daltrey looked a bit like this last time I saw him. He had pink glasses and curly hair, but his hair was shorter.
Yeah, but also
he
got to
was
say,
lovely.
because you got the initial D, that's not bad, Roger Daltrey.
Roger Daltrey, yeah.
So
Love Roger Daltrey.
let's hear how both of you. I'll talk to you about your New York accent a little bit later, because
Okay.
I actually come from an area that's about 2.5 hours away from New York City.
Pittsburgh?
And no.
How far's Jersey from New York? 2 miles?
Yeah. No, it was nearly 27 years ago I did that play. So I've forgotten everything I learned, basically.
So I'll teach you.
Young Ulrich.
You have
Yeah,
to
Warwick.
say, for example, the word DOG, right?
Yeah.
Or DOG. How do you say that?
Dog. Dag.
There you
Did
go.
you read that?
Dog. Like
Dog.
New
Yeah, dog.
York,
Your dog.
the dog.
Open the dog.
Peter Talk.
And also, I'm going to have a cup of coffee. You have
That's
to.
coffee. Can I have some
My
coffee?
mother, she lived in New York for 1 year. And I kept telling her when she was alive, I said, you couldn't have had me there. You couldn't have had me in New York. Well,
Now, Roger, we're trying
Dad
to
was
work for
coming
we're
around.
trying to have a name for Robin, right? And
Robin.
Jim's just written in and called her Mrs. Conditioner.
There's been a
I
lot
would have
of my
thought she was a
hair lately
bird.
because Mr. Shampoo was on last time. Hello, I saw.
We had Mr. Shampoo on last week.
And
I
no one
know.
ever asked me.
Wait,
No
I'm
one
going to
ever-
ask you. We're on accent still. I want to know how you pronounce this word.
Now I am stuffed because I can't see with these
Schedule. The word schedule.
Schedule.
Oh,
Schedule.
which is it? Because my phone, I have Siri on the iPhone, and I have programmed Siri to be an Australian accent.
Let's
And
go
when
for it.
When I go to put an appointment into my calendar, and it says this word,
Schedule.
plastic,
Schedule, mate. That's a schedule.
but Roger, you said it differently. How do you say it?
Schedule.
Schedule. Yes, that's how my phone says it.
And listen, get your phone and we'll talk
My
Australian.
mother picked up a lot of New York things, and I was working in the movie theater as an usher, and the guy came from New York, and he said, you born here? I said, yeah, but my mother, she spent some time in America. So you spent some, he said, yeah, you sound like you come from New York.
That's pretty good. That
I
is.
love it.
What do you
So,
want
you
to
know-
ask my phone? Do you want me to ask my phone?
No, I'm going to tell you what we're going to ask it, because you know what to ask it. I want you to say to your phone, say good day, mate. See what
Good
it
day,
says.
mate.
Listen to this, Roger.
Okay.
Repeat, good day, mate. Wait a minute.
She didn't like the day.
Repeat this. Say, good day, mate.
Sorry, I can't do that. You're not listening to the music.
It never does what I say.
Siri never does.
It
Siri
never
sucks.
does what I say. It's kind of like my husband, right?
Can you say get lost, mate? Say get lost, mate. Piss off.
Rack off. Rack off.
Rack off. Rack off.
What does wreck off mean?
Nick off.
Let's go away.
What does wreck off mean? I don't even know what that means.
Means
It's
piss
basically
off. Get
go away.
lost.
I found this on the web.
It says wreck. It says
no.
definition of wreck. It
No,
doesn't.
no.
Hey, can you ask this? Can you
What?
ask this one? You ready? Can I have a date, Sheila? Can you ask that?
Classic.
Have a
You're
date,
very
Sheila?
popular when you were young.
I'm gonna press it and then you say it. You ready?
Yeah, come on.
Go.
Rack
Can I
off.
have a date, Sheila?
Oh, yeah. We got our wires crossed.
It's confused. We're gonna do it again. Ready?
Yes.
Yeah, go.
Go. All right.
Can I have a date, Sheila?
Sheila.
I didn't get that. You can also try spelling it.
Okay.
It wants you to spell it, and if you have to spell it, it no longer works.
Yeah, but I want you to try
no.
something else. I want you to get the phone whether it works or not. Now watch this. Just get the phone. Listen to what my instructions. Get the phone.
Yeah.
Now, Roger, I'm going to say something. I want you to answer back as the phone.
Okay. All right.
Get the phone. Pretend you're talking to it, and say, "Are we going to have another Barbie tonight, love?"
All right. We're going to have another Barbie tonight, love.
I
Crikey.
love that accent. My accent.
We having kangaroo meat, mate.
Now you're really giving us Australians a really
Hey,
bad.
what about this one? Where's my ute? It's a beaut. All you have to do is say the word mate after every sentence.
So if I
Mate.
say that,
Mate.
mate,
I want you to say the
what
word
have you
mate.
got a rectangle around your face, mate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. I want you to
Another
say
one-
the word mate.
The other one that
After
you
everything
miss.
you say.
Hold on. There's another one that we say all the time. It says no problem. It says
No
"Hey,
problem.
car's coming out. No problem.
No
Your
problem.
house is burnt down. No problem.
Wait.
Yeah, but you got to put the word mate. No
Mate.
problem,
They
mate.
always put mate.
I
We sometimes no
thought-
problem.
In the movies here, like
Mm.
Crocodile Dundee, have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
No worries. No
No
worries.
worries. Yeah.
No worries,
No
mate.
problem.
No worries, mate.
And
She's
that's
all
how
right,
laid
mate.
back
She's
we
a
are.
beaut, mate. What's wrong with you, mate?
Yeah. Something wrong with you, mate. You're worried, mate. No problem. No worries.
Always say mate. What
Right,
about
mate.
this? They see a beautiful girl and they go, "Oh, look at that Sheila. She's great, mate."
See, he comes from Melbourne. I come from Sydney. We're slightly more educated here in Sydney.
Oh,
We're a bit more like drongos in Melbourne.
There's
So-
too many drongos and skinheads down here, mate. You get your head bashed in, you know. Look at that
Right,
Sheila.
mate. Pull your
Oh,
head
Sheila's
in.
beautiful.
Pull your head in, okay?
So where did Sheila come from anyway?
Sheila's another word for a female.
I know. Where did that
Where
come
did
from?
it come
Oh, look at that Sheila, mate. And then they do that with their head from the 70s. Roger.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember.
Well,
Sheila,
I think we can go there now.
Yeah. Sheila was very, very, very popular word back in the 1950s.
And remember Tommy Rowe? He had a song called Sheila. Oh, little
Yes,
Sheila.
but it was actual girl's name then as well. But also the other name that we used to call them, or the other word that was very Australian, which I don't hear very often anymore, is she's a beauty, mate. She's a beauty.
She's a ripper, mate. She's a ripper.
Yeah, they're very early 70s sort of words we don't use very often anymore.
How about this one?
Wait,
I got in the supermarket and I see my girlfriend Shazza. Oh, she's a beauty, mate.
Shazza, yeah. There's
So
a lot of
Ripper?
words that we don't use anymore.
Beauty
Go
and
ahead.
Sheila. Is it go Sheila, Beauty, Ripper?
Shazza. Shazza's another word for Sharon. You know the word
Yeah.
Sharon, the name Sharon?
Yeah.
How about you change your name to Sharon? Instead of being Robin, we'll call you Shazza. Hey, Shazza. Oh, she's
No,
great.
that wouldn't be right. No. Leave her name as it is.
Roger, is this an insult? I don't know.
Yeah,
No.
I think it is a definite insult. I would not change my
Roger,
name.
it's not.
Yeah, he's trying to Aussie you up, and you don't want to do that. You're obviously American. It's like me
Well, we
trying
can't
to
say.
make an English
Here's,
person
here's
Australian.
Robin coming in from New York. It's Robin.
I was going to say, Robin, you would have had a lot of Batman jokes growing up.
Yes, we've been through this too. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
That was not
Roger.
good. Now Roger is
Come back,
gone.
Roger. Come back.
What happened to you, mate?
He's coming back, mate. Don't worry, mate. It's enjoyable, isn't it?
I'd like to learn. I would like to improve upon my Australian accent.
No, I reckon you're doing all right. That series is going to help you.
Doing all right, mate. I'm doing all right, mate.
Can you say we're going to have a barbecue tonight, mate?
We're gonna have a barbie tonight, mate. How's that? Is that good?
That's it. I'll just take him out until he comes back.
Okay. So I learned a few things today, but how come you say this word differently from the way he says it? Is that
'Cause
because
my parents were Greek.
you're confusing me? But you have a thick
He said
Australian.
he comes from
Is that because he's
Sydney.
from
I come
Sydney
from
and you're from
Melbourne.
Melbourne. Melbourne.
Melbourne. I come from Melbourne, Australia.
Melbourne. Do I have
Yeah,
to
but
be-
you know I exaggerated. It's Melbourne. That's how we say it, Melbourne.
Melbourne.
Melbourne. I exaggerated. It's Plastic EP here from Melbourne, Australia.
So if women are Sheilas, what's the term for men?
Fella.
Fella. That's
Hey,
boring.
fella, come here. Yeah.
That's boring. Women have a different name. Sheilas and fellas.
Hang on, I think he's going to come back in a minute. Yeah. I'll ask Roger too. Hang on. Roger, you're back. Roger, you're back. Listen, what's the name for guy? You know Sheila's for female.
Sorry?
What is it for guy? Bloke.
It's a bloke.
Bloke.
But isn't bloke kind of insulting? Like, doesn't that
That's the same thing with Sheila. I didn't think Sheila's very nice either.
probably not. Okay. Yeah.
I think we went for a revolution right up after the 70s. We had a lot of people come into the country from all over. The all Australian policy was abandoned in 73. So we started getting African Americans, we got Africans and people from all over the world. And then all of a sudden, Sydney and Melbourne became much more multicultural. And so those two cities in particular became like went from 1 million, 2 billion to 20 million, it was nearly 20 million, a lot of people. And it changed the language with all the different nationalities, lots of Italians. A lot of Italians went to Melbourne, and my parents were Italian background. So, sorry?
What was your well? You're not going to tell me, but yes, my family is Italian as well.
Oh, okay. So we got
From where?
two
The
Italians
Calabria?
and one Greek.
We got 2 Italians and a Greek. There's a joke in there somewhere.
There's a joke in there. 2 Italians and a Greek walking to a Slovakia bar.
Hey, Roger. Roger, can I ask you to pull the screen down a little bit?
Yeah. It's just that I just got this.
We ought to make sure you're directly in the rectangle.
Now,
Oh, yeah, you look fantastic now.
Am I
You're
There's
right. Look $1 million.
glasses in a rectangle, I always say.
Hey, I like his T-shirt. It looks very 60s. It looks like the monkeys have just come out of the beach house. Your T-shirt is like
it's
the monkeys
sort of
have just
like
come
what I
out of the
want.
beach house. Now, Roger,
Yeah.
have you got a photo there you can show us of you with someone? Have you got one handy?
Funny you should say.
Oh, yes, we would like to see some of your photography.
Yeah, because I want you to see these, Robin.
You asked if I have a photo of someone, and I have this.
Yeah. Just pull it down a bit. There you go, and it's signed. I can see it.
Yeah.
You have a signed picture.
You know, that is Lou Reed.
That's me and Lou Reed.
Interesting.
And the other guy is you, is it?
Yeah, when I
I
showed.
recognise you.
Yeah, well, that was when I was 15. That was a long time ago.
15. Wow.
I got that signed by Lou Reed the last time I met him, and he signed it originally. And then we were talking, and he's standing there with the celloist that he had on the tour, and she was showing him an opal ring she'd bought, and she's smoking a cigarette, and then she said, "I spent $500 on this," and Lou Reed said, "Oh, it's better than spending money on that cancer stick." And I said, "Hold on. I'm seeing Lou Reed give out good health advice." and Lou just cracked up. He was laughing. And then he said, "Give me that picture." And he put all these kisses on it. He says, "You coming to the show tonight?" I says, "I haven't got a ticket." "You have a ticket now." "You're going to get you backstage."
So fun.
So,
That's great. That's
but he was so sweet. And then he came up and we were talking about photography. But I noticed when I hugged him, it was like, I'd met him a number of times, but this time he was so thin, and I thought, wow, he's really lost a lot of weight. But he was really healthy when I last saw him. He'd in a way that he'd given up booze and drugs and all that, and he was doing Tai Chi, and he had a Tai Chi master with him. But Lou could be really nasty if he thought you were some press trying to get a story. But if he knew you were a fan, he'd be nice to you. But if he knew that you were like, when he saw that, he said, "I've known you for 30 years now." and he said, "You actually look more like the rock star than I do in this photo. I look so scummy in this." And he said, "You look so cool. I like the jumper you're wearing." And he was really nice. Lou used to spend a lot of time in Sydney because it reminded him of Manhattan 20, 30 years earlier. It's a harbour city, big skyscrapers, multicultural, lots of those sort of similarities. But he had a lot of friends in Sydney, and he would come to Sydney just for holidays a lot because he liked it. That's why he ended up doing Berlin here. He did Berlin here, and he did it in New York. And I don't know if he did it anywhere else. I don't think he did it anywhere else. I'm not too sure that live Berlin concert.
That's amazing. Have you got another photo there, Roger? One you can just pull out from somewhere?
Can I put?
You got your McCartney one?
Yeah,
Or what
I don't have my McCartney photo handy.
have you got my favourite Blondie?
But I do have something. The
Go
other
for it.
day, I was asked. I'm working on a project with a friend of mine, and he's putting together some recordings of a band that was very big in Australia and actually very influential. Their name was Slade. Now, maybe while I get this,
Yeah, I'll talk.
you talk about Slade and letting Robin know how important Slade
Slade
were.
from the UK with Noddy Holder. Have you heard of Slade? Come on, feel the noise.
Yes. Oh,
There you go.
yes. I have. That's 80s.
You know, Wikipedia is very good too. 5 seconds, you know
I
everything.
didn't even have to look that up. I've been looking
All
this
right.
day.
Do you recognize this guy?
Who is it?
That's Jimmy Lee. He's the guy that was the bass player and violinist in Slade. What's interesting about this, I must have been 15. I'm drinking a beer with him. So,
We're
But,
talking
then
about
there's
the
another
UK
photo
Slade,
above
aren't we? Noddy Holder?
Slade, yeah, that's the guy that wrote the songs with him. Noddy Holder and Jimmy Lee wrote all the songs for Slade. The reason you know that song, Robin, is because Twisted Sister, an American band, did a cover of
I
it.
was just going to say that. Absolutely. Yes.
This is an interesting shot. This is Brian. Brian was a singer in a band called Geordie, but Brian ended up becoming the lead singer for a band that he met on that tour. And on that tour in 73, he met a band called AC/DC, and he ended up replacing Bon Scott. So this is Brian Johnson and me. Ooh, I don't know if you can see that, but that was really a real con, I tell you. I was at the airport to meet Elton John, and the publicist, and Elton John. I met him and his whole band. But then
I love Elton John. I love Elton John. Love
Elton John. Yeah, well, I met Elton John in 73 when he came out for the tour. 74, and he was really nice and pretty pleasant to all of us fans, and there was only 5 or 6 of us. By the time he came back, he went from being a star to being a superstar, and he went from a small ego to a gigantic ego. And the next time he arrived, there was 700, 800 people at the airport. He didn't sign anything for anyone. And even when I did corner him at a radio station, I was the only person there. He just walked right past me, and he didn't sign anything, and he wasn't very nice to anyone.
Well,
so that was sort of shown in that movie where he started drinking a bit.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, he went from being really nice to being really nasty. The last time I saw Elton John, it was in the same room as him. I was filming the movie Australia with Nicole Kidman and Hugh Jackman, and he turned up to watch because he was writing one of the songs for the film, and he sat there and he was so lovely that night. Him and his husband, they were just really lovely and sweet to everyone. So yeah, it was interesting to see how Elton changed over the years.
Do you know that they're coming out with an Elton Barbie doll?
I'm sure Elton will love that, and he'll be dressing just like that.
I'm sure it will be a collector's item. I can't wait to. It's coming out this year here. I just heard that on the radio the other day.
Make sure you get it.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun. What I was going to say, I had another autograph here, but it's of this is the last time I met this guy. I took photos of him, and I actually was the first person he met in Sydney when he arrived. And I'm talking about this guy. Do you know who this guy is?
Is that Mickey?
No.
No, I can't see. I'm having trouble making it out. Who is it? You got to go the other way. It's the opposite. This StreamYard does it opposite.
Yeah.
Is he in a band?
This is Gary Glitter.
Oh, unbelievable. And you know he's a guitarist, yeah?
What?
You met his guitarist.
I actually met him and his whole band. I became sort of friends with his band more than him. His band were very nice guys, and they were all very nice to me and my friend Reese. And we met them every time they came to Sydney, and we partied with them. And because I met them straight away after the first show, and the first show was not a sellout. The first show was like half full. And then they got signed to do a free concert 2 weeks later. And 2 weeks later, they went from playing for 2,000 to playing to 47,000 or more. And they went from being a little known act. And we didn't have many videos in those days. So I didn't even know what he looked like till he arrived. So I only liked the songs that I heard on the radio. But when he played that outdoor gig, it was it really changed his appeal in Australia and in Sydney. And if you look for the film clip, you'll see me sort of bopping in the film clip. You see me standing there bopping away.
I've got to say, Gary Glitter was huge in Australia, but also I've got to tell you, that song by the Gary Glitter Band, because they put out their own songs too, Angel Face, that's one of my favourite songs. You agree, Roger?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love Angel Face, the Tears I Cried. Yeah, the Glitter Band were a great band, and they did some really, really good songs, and I really love them. They were sweet guys. Unfortunately, one of them passed away last year, Harvey, one of the saxophone players. But there's been a bit of a kerfuffle between the band, and they've split. And the original songwriter that worked with the guitarist, John Russell, left Jerry Shepherd. Now, Jerry Shepherd also died a number of years ago, so there's not many original members left from the band. But unfortunately, it's what Gary Glitter did was not what they did, and they're suffering for what he did. And he's in jail, and they're out there trying to make a living, and it's been difficult for them. But they're very talented and very nice guys.
You've had
Robin, any questions?
You've really had a lot of experiences. It sounds like you have led a full life with your photography, and you're a writer too, right?
Yeah. I did a book called The Beatles Down Under a number of years ago with Glenn Baker. Glenn did a lot of the writing. I just did. It was my inspiration, my idea, and I did all the research and got the. And
have you got the book there and the Monkey Mania album that he put out? Have you got them close by?
No, I don't have them close by.
He put out that double album, Monkey Mania. Glenn,
Yeah.
That's a big seller. That one.
Monkey Mania. That was one of the things. Actually, now I remember. Like Glenn Baker was the manager of my friend's band, and my friend's band were called Punks, and then they changed their name to Cheek, and Glenn was their manager. And one day backstage we were just talking, and I said, "Oh, I just love the Monkees," and we're talking. I think I just found a copy of Head, and I'd been looking for it for a while, and he said, "Oh, the Monkees, oh yeah." So I've got all the singles, I've got all the singles and all the albums. I'm just trying to get them all. And Glenn and I started talking about the Monkees, and he just loved the Monkees. And then when Michael Nesmith came out, I went, and I was the only photographer. I was the only person there. So I took photos.
Is that in 77?
77. And then he used those photos in his story for Michael Nesmith. And then last year I got asked for the photos for a record cover, and they used one of my photos for the live at BBC Paris, I think, the album. So then when Mickey and Mike came out here last year, I got him to sign the album. That was really a real highlight. Not only did I get his signature and complete all 4 Monkees on one Monkees album, which was obviously like Plastic Hippie, a very long process.
Yeah.
38 years for the poster from 1960.
Yeah, I didn't. I think you took longer than me. I think mine started when I got Peter and Davey in, I think, 88. I think, when did they come out? Australia. Whenever they came out, I got them first, and then I got Mickey when 3 of them came out.
They came out in 2016.
Yeah, but Michael Nesmith never returned after 77 until last year. So it was I really thought there was no chance in the world that I'll ever get the chance to meet him. But I did. Me and Glenn got to meet him. I got a photo taken with him. So that was really nice.
I got to say, Roger, you helped with the Monkey Mania album, didn't you? You helped with the Monkey Mania album.
Yeah, on the Monkey, that was, he asked Glenn, usually finds a super fan like me, and he asked for stuff, and I had the bubblegum cards. I still have all the bubblegum cards, original ones, from the black and white ones and the colored ones. So I had those. I had Monkey annuals. I had a whole bunch of Monkey stuff. Yeah, so I lent him all this stuff, and we used all that in the collage. If you look at the album, there's a big collage of photos and things. But it was.
But how great is that? I've been told that in Japan, that's a very rare album, and it's very expensive.
Yeah, well, it would be, because it was only released in Australia, and Glenn was real cheeky. He took the live version from the film of Circle Sky and released it, and it hadn't been released anywhere. So there was a few tracks on that album that no one had ever released. So, and it was very well put together. Like when you write, Glenn writes liner notes, they're more like a book. because he'll write 5,000 words. It's a real story. And
Now, I've got to say, Robin was personal assistant to Peter Tork. I mean, how great is that?
yeah, I saw a bit of interview with you and Plastic about that, and it must have been wonderful working for him. He was really persistent, wasn't he, getting you to help him?
Yeah,
Like,
it was a lot of fun. It took a while before I actually was able to do it, but it certainly was fun. I'm curious. I'm sure that Good Times made it to Australia, right? Did Good
Yeah,
Times?
he made it. Yeah, no problem. I was the first one to buy it.
I
yeah.
think you were.
Good Times did make it to Australia. But the Christmas album hasn't really.
I
Oh,
bought it.
I have not seen a copy of the Christmas album anywhere.
I imported it.
Yeah, I have to import it. I have to go. We've got import shops here, and I used to go to them all the time. But the trouble is, they're in the city, and in the city now, there's no parking anywhere. And
Do it online, Roger. Buy everything online. I go to Amazon Australia and I buy it.
Yeah, well, I kind of like that experience of actually going somewhere and actually physically buying it rather than buying it online.
Hey, if you keep searching like me, you might find them in the bargain bins. After a few years, I find
Yeah,
stuff
like I found Pull It was like in the bargain bins.
No, but listen, don't laugh. I found a Rolf Harris single that he autographed and actually drew a picture on the back of 45 in Texter.
Oh yeah. I've gone to
$5.
second-hand shops. Yeah,
$5.
I've done the same. I was looking through some CDs the other day, and I found Jimmy Barnes signed, autographed, Jessica Malboy, a whole lot of different artists, and it's weird. I bought an album for $1, and it was the soundtrack to The King and I, and I took it home and I went, hold on, there's something on it. Hold on. And I really got a keen eye, and I go, hold on, this isn't just a squiggle. This isn't some kid. This is an autograph. And so I double checked, and I found out it was autographed by Yul Brynner.
wow.
I just said that, Yul Brynner.
And I got it for $1. So I was really
There
happy.
you go. Always never go past the bargain bins. You don't know what you're going to find.
I know. And it was in the bargain bin. The guy had no idea. He just saw a King and I. And they didn't really look at it. And he's probably, at first, I thought it was just some sort of marker mistake. Some kids put a marker. But then I realized
say something.
signed.
I worked in a shop, right, in the city, and you've seen all these movies, the Roman movies and whatever.
Yeah.
And there's one famous actor who played Nero, and he had to do this. You die or you live, right? And he played in those Agatha mysteries as well.
Christie. Yeah, Agatha Christie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, which actor are we talking about?
He's a famous Hollywood actor from the old time. And I got his autograph. And his most famous role is playing the Emperor when he does that. Die.
Oh.
It's live or die. Right.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think
of the name. Try and help me here, right?
Look it up. You look that up. But
what movie was it?
the lesson is that, people probably in estate sale.
Ustinov. Peter Ustinov. That's his name.
People,
How big is it to get Peter Ustinov's signature? When I asked him, he wasn't too keen. After the third time, he goes, all right. He signed it. Peter Ustinov.
Some people are like Cat Stevens. I was at the airport to meet him to get his autograph, and he wouldn't sign. I asked him. Then he went to the hotel. He was going into the press conference. I asked him. He said no. I waited. After he came out of the press conference, I asked him for a third time. And then he said, you don't want my autograph? Who am I? I'm not anyone important. And I said, yes, you're Cat Stevens. I want to get your autograph. He says, really, it would mean a lot to me. He says, okay. And so he signed it Cat Stevens. And I realized recently, I thought, hold on, there's not many Cat Stevens autographs around anymore because he's now Yusuf and has been for a very long time. But
it would have been good if he drew a cat on the cover as well.
I ever met.
It would have been good if he drew a cat as well.
I knew you would say that.
Well, You know, if you got an extra doodle on the cover, it's worth more.
Yeah, I think Paul McDermott and Doug Anthony All Stars, they seem to really, they did a lot of doodles. Also, I got, like, when he signed Paul Dermott, he did a whole drawing for me, so I could actually frame it as a piece of art. But the other guy that did a drawing while I was talking to him was the lead singer of the Dandy Warhols. He sat there and did a whole drawing for me while I was talking to him, because I gave him a big pad to autograph, and he just said, "Oh yeah, I've got some time," and he did a drawing. So yeah, I would have loved to have met John Lennon, because John Lennon.
Yeah, I was going to say he'll do a doodle for you if you're lucky enough.
Yeah, because he did little doodles sometimes on his autographs.
Yeah, but I interviewed someone that had a school project. I've got the interview right. And what happens is he had to do a school project, went to John Lennon. He goes, "I'll mail you my something for your project." And he actually signed and drew a picture and sent it to his house.
Wow.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Now, can you do me a favor, Roger?
Yeah.
Please enlighten Robin about one of my favorite Australian bands. Now, you know the one I'm talking about because you were there and you did probably the first photography session with them. And I'm talking about the Angels.
Yeah, the Angels went through many incarnations. They were actually a jug band at one point. And
Really?
I was amazed when I went to their house. The whole house had a rim around the edge of near the ceiling, and they had all these different costumes, and they had all these different things that costumes all around the house. And he was saying these are all the different versions of the band over the years. So I wasn't one of the first, but I certainly took photos of them when they had their first hit single, which was "Am I Ever Going to See Your Face Again?" So I took photos of them at that period where they were wearing all leather jackets. They went from leather jackets to wearing Baroque sort of shirts and vests and trousers. And so within a couple of weeks, they changed the image again. So they said, "Oh, we can't use the photos anymore because we've changed the image." But
Roger, I'll get Robin to check that all out for you. Now, just got to say, we've got to go, but do me a favor. I want you to tell everyone your links out there so they can actually find the famous Roger D.
Well, yeah, you can find some of my photography on Facebook on Roger Delernia Photography. And I also have my own blog, which is Roger D's Rock and Roll History 101. So it's been really pleasure meeting you, Robin.
Great to meet you and talk to you. Fun story we have.
Roger, we've got to get you on as part 2 and tell us more stories. And I love that frame there. Keep that face in that frame.
You got to put the glasses right in there. There you go.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love the glasses. I love the look. We love you,
Roger.
Roger.
I'll be able to get rid of all these thing next time. Okay. Bye-bye.
The circle next time. How's that?
Yeah.